And when I see traders with indicators on their chart and a bunch of tools and doing analysis that takes them an hour a day just to find the right setups, I really cringe because my setups and my way of trading is so simple these days. And I really was able to refine this over the years. I wasn't that simple in one day. But today I'll share with you how it's so simple, why it's so powerful, and how you can apply it for yourself. So stick around, watch the video till the end, take some notes if you want to. I'm gonna have my little handwriting to this, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And we are going to dive right into it. I had a call with a student of mine a few hours ago today, and we talked about kind of the way he's trading and really he's trying to follow my strategy, but adding a bunch of stuff to it. And sometimes it's kind of hurting his result. It's really adding more complexity to it. It's adding filters where there shouldn't be filters, and it's kind of being too simple sometimes on other aspects that need to be a bit more tuned into to find the right trades. I told him to just go back to basics, follow the strategy rules as I outlined them, and really make it more simple to be more powerful in the end. So this is kind of what inspired me to do this video today and to go over the basics of my strategy and why can you make money with something so simple. Let's dive right into it. Okay, so welcome here on the little iPad, which is the only thing I have, by the way, for trading. I travel with this all the time. It's the only tool I use for trading. I don't have a computer anymore. I have one in Bangkok, which I never really use. This is really my go-to tool. I've done videos on that in the past too. If you want to see how I trade from the iPad, check out the video link over here in the corner. It's a good one. I'm really happy with this, and it's been a really game changer for me to be able to travel with. A lot more light and all that cool stuff. So yeah, anyway, let's get into it. Any good trading works out on a specific thing, which is the fact that you cannot trade all market contexts with the same strategy, right? There's gonna be strategies that work better in some context. Can you tell I didn't write on the iPad here for a long time? It's insane. So market context is very important. Why that is was because some strategies work really well in volatile market. Some strategies work much better in sideways market. Some strategies are going to, of course, be much better at trending market. Some markets trend more than others. The stock market can trend about 70% of the time. These days, Forex is a lot less than that. So, of course, you need to have the right strategy for the right context there. Of course, you can mix and match these. It's going to be like a volatile sideways market, volatile trending market. It's going to be trends that are faster, trends that are slower. But this is the basics of it. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting, is the fact that good trading, in my opinion, relies on zones. Because what most traders do is they'll go on their chart and then they'll look at an indicator like the RSI, or in my case here, the Hull, and they'll say, okay, here I'm going to go and I'm going to short over here, right? This red candlestick, it's a setup for a short trade. Now it won't work here, and I'll show you why. Okay, I'm going to go and go short again. Okay, I'm going to go and actually I'm going to buy when this one turns green over here, all right? I'm going to go and buy when it turns over here. This is not a bad one, but it's not a good one either. If you just follow these indicators blindly without any zone into the context, you're going to have a lot of losing trades, and it's probably not going to be profitable very much long term. So zones can be, of course, support and resistance. They can also be moving averages. They can also be trend line. Now, these are cool. The only thing is that they're very, very, very discretionary based on who does it and who looks at it. They'll have different trend lines, different zones, and just mess up the whole process. So they can also be indicators, but not all of them. They can be moving averages, okay, and also Bollinger Bands. Now, I'll show you these ones because this is really what I focus on. I've traded this way here, the top two parts, for a long time, for multiple years, but I recently switched to only this, and it's made a huge difference in my results, and I'll show you why that is, and also it's much easier to teach people. So what zones give you is they give you a place in the chart where you can actually look for a trade. In the way I look at it is we have a moving average over here. Let's see, it's trending up like this. And then what this does is that we have three zones that we could look at. We have when price is in the middle, somewhere over here. This is one zone, right? So, okay, the price touches the moving average. This is a kind of zone, you could say it's a zone. Then we have when price is below the moving average. Anywhere on here, this is also a zone. When you have one price is above it, this will be also a zone, right? So it gives you an area of where price is currently. Now, of course, it could be like super high price could be over here. That's also above. That's below could be over here. So there's some limits to it. It can be very clear or very not clear. It can be very far too. But if you do it right, I'll show you how that works out. But this is a way to look at it. So when price is over here, do you want to be buying? Well, you could be if you believe the trends will continue really fast and really far. Yes, you could. If price is here, do you want to be selling? Well, you could, but it doesn't really make sense because price is really far. Chances are price will eventually go back up to the mean, which is the middle zone here, right? And of course, when it's here, price will likely go back here. Now, I'll show you in the chart how that looks like here, but I have a whole moving average on my chart. People ask me how this works out. It's a whole moving average. It's called HMA. So if you need to look at this, check it out. Some trading views on all these platforms. I made my own eventually to make it more precise for me, but these are available everywhere. It's a very basic tool. It's available everywhere. It's a whole moving average. What this does is I say when price is below the whole, I want to be buying. When price is above it, I want to be selling. Now there is a difference here because I need to be in the right context. What if we are going like this? Then the whole does something like this. If price is above, do I want to be selling? Yes, I could, but when it's here, I'm going to try to sell here. And it's not going to be very precise, right? It's probably going to be even more flat than this. And then I want to try to buy, maybe I want to buy here, maybe I'll buy it there, maybe I'll buy here. And not very precise in these markets. But it works really well if price is trending well. If price is trending like this, then we can actually be buying here below, we can be selling here at the top, and continue, and continue, and continue, and so on. A good place to trade this kind of strategy here in these trending markets. Now there is one more thing, because we want to make sure we're trending. What I do is, the whole, you'll see it changes color. So what it does is, it tends to be green when the whole goes up. Here I didn't do a good example, but then when it's not going up, when it's going down, it's actually turning into red. And so on. That's why it's really hard to find these. So I kind of made my own over time. But this is kind of what it would look like on the chart. Now, more or less, okay, this is a very basic scenario here. It's not going to look as nice as this usually, but this is a good example. And that's what I follow. Now I have another strategy which is a bit different. This one works in trend, but the other one is a completely different strategy. It's very similar too, but what we have is we have a Bollinger Band. So Bollinger Bands, invented by John Bollinger, who I'm a big fan of. So Bollinger Bands are also a very similar tool. You'll see you have a upper band here, then you have you've seen this before, you have a middle band over here, then you have a lower band over here. It's going to look a bit more messy than this in real trading, but this is what it looks like in practice. You can see, okay, this is giving us zones right away, but the zones here don't really apply too much into the way I trade, because the fact that if price is going to be here, you want to buy, well, we could buy, but it doesn't tell us much about the whole picture. What actually matters is when price breaks the lower band of the Bollinger Band over here. It's a good place to buy. And same thing when it breaks above. This is a really good place to sell. Okay. Now, can you go in your chart and look at these support resistance areas on the chart? It will look like something like maybe like this. It will look like, okay, you have a middle band here, you have a trend line here, you have another trend line here, and price doing something like this. Going to go back and forth, back and forth. Same thing here, right? This could be a zone on your chart, but this is much more systematic, much more clear, right? Than this. This is kind of subjective. So everyone who looks at the chart will have it a bit different. Everyone who looks at the market will be a bit different, but this is going to be the same thing with price. Now, what we'll do is we'll use this for trading. You have these zones, and then we can look at this. Now, the next step is going to be our setups. My setups are so stupidly simple. They don't even make sense. It's actually so stupid because there's one thing and one thing I only look at is I look at engulfing candles. Now, my students especially have been trying to add more over time and kind of find these patterns that they look at, like pin bars, which will look something like this. Then you have a pin bar here as a sign reversal. Or they'll look at these like maybe triple bar pattern where you have this one, then you have this one, like this, then you have this one here, then it reverses with this one, maybe something like this, and then it goes back up. All these are kind of versions or tweaks of the engulfing candles, in my opinion. So I really look at this. It's the only thing I look at pretty much on these candlesticks that matter in the market. Am I going to be some trades where there's no engulfing candles when it's actually a good move? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it happens. But this is really reliable for the way I trade. So all that's left to do here is, of course, we can talk about take profits and stop loss, and I won't cover this into this video today because I want to focus on the entries and what matters much more for the strategy. But if you want to see how the exits work, check out this video over here. I've covered this in details before into how I look at the market and exit trades and how I take profits. And you'll see why these fixed targets don't work well for me, but actually scaling in and out works better. So this is going to be a much better video to watch and go in depth on that. Also, if you want to see me go through this exact process here in details, much more in depth than what we talk about here and kind of going into these exact calculations for engulfing candles, how I use the whole, what settings I use, then go check it out. It's going to be a free training link below. I go through all of this here. I cover everything in much more details. This is a very, very big overview. There are some subtleties and nuances to it. So make sure you watch this, and it's also free, so you can have a look at it and learn a bunch of stuff that will be useful for you in applying this strategy correctly in the market. Now, once we get on the chart with this is where it gets kind of interesting. You can see I have my first strategy here. These blue triangles here on the chart that you see, one is over here, are actually going to be my Benjamin reversal setups. Now, I don't take all of them because of the fact that I look at the context first, and this is in the wrong context, clearly. But in other cases, these will be very helpful to look at seller's market and price action going back and forth. It's on Netflix when I've been able to build a really big position on this in the past few months, all the way back in 2024 when I first bought Netflix. And this is really where it matters. So you can see all the times where we have these little triangles here, the green triangles. We have one over here, we have one over there. We have a few more on we have one actually over here forming this week. And we have some on our daily chart also, plenty of them. We have one here, one there, and one over here, and a few more, and so on. This is really where I make a lot of my money. Is I can add to trades, scale into them, and build my positions that way. You can see this also works on sell trades. So here we are on Nike. And what does this say? Well, we look at the context first. Context is based on this indicator at the bottom, which is also a haul, but modified. Price is trending down. It's red. This is a bigger picture haul. It's based on the monthly chart, so one time frame above. And then we have our haul on the chart here, which is I believe a 50 period, if I'm not mistaken. But if you want to go more in depth than that, check out the training below. So free training, cover everything in that and all the settings and stuff. But you can see we have our engulfing candles. They are marked here in red and also with the triangle at the top. That means I can go short here, put my stop loss above. I give it some room because it stocks. And then I just let this ride until the haul turns back to green, which in this case happened later. Or also have a different way to take profit with my dots. And this happened right over here also. So I was looking at the daily chart here. The daily chart turns back to green. And I got out of the trade with a decent profit on this overall. That's kind of how it worked out. Same thing when it comes to this week. I had a trade on Lululemon. You can see we are above the haul. The haul is red on the daily chart. We could sell here. I didn't cash this one actually. I cashed one on the weekly chart a bit before that. So haul is red. We are above it. Plus clearly trending down. On this one, you have a haul that's red below. And we can just sell and let the trade run on this particular stock here, which is going down quite heavily so far. So, I mean, decent profit on this and just kind of riding and let it go over time. Now, you can see from this, you don't need to have 1,000 different chart patterns or you need to have a way to look at the market correctly. I don't do any analysis. I go through my list every single Monday and also every single day. I go through these different stocks that are on my list. I see if I have a setup coming up. It will show me a little green or red triangle. And then if it doesn't show it, I just go to the next one. If I see it, I take the trade and that's it. There's a lot of logic to it, but it's not rocket science and anyone could really apply this if they wanted to. I've also got these dots I covered before where these dots allow me to get out of the market. So after 4 or 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I take some partial profits. And the same thing goes here on the other side where if I go short, we have one, actually this one turned back to green. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, take some profits and so on. See how that works out? It's very simple, very accurate in a sense. I don't look at different candlestick patterns. I don't try to complicate things. Having these things coded in the chart really made a big difference. And hopefully you can see how it works out. The Lama is one where I just added to a couple of days ago. So we are still in profit on this. I'm basing this on the weekly chart because this is where I really add most of my trades in this. So weekly chart is going well so far. And we're still green on the haul. So I won't close my trade until we're still green on the haul. I have a few more rules which you can find in the training link below. But this is really what the basis of it is. And this is working quite well. So again, you might think it's boring straight on daily chart and weekly chart. You can do this on lower time frame if you want to. For me, it works better on higher time frames. But hopefully you get some value out of this. You got some good advice on how to really apply this and why simple trading works better than complicated stuff. If you have any questions, make sure you comment below. Let me know in the thoughts in the comment section as always. What you think of this? Will you apply this? Any questions about the rules or about how to look at the market? You can comment below. And check out this video next. I think you'll like it. And I'll catch you back here in that video just in a second. Ciao.